Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all those who are watching this IELTS analysis class live. My name's Alex, and I'll be going through the task that you were charged to complete as part of your IELTS preparation development. So welcome to all those who are watching this class live and those who are watching the recorded version of the class as well. Let me know if you are here live. As usual, if you join in with the chat on either YouTube or Facebook, and just let me know your name and also where you're joining from. So today we'll be going through a task looking at an important element of IELTS writing, and this is in relation to grammar. So of course, grammar accounts for 25% of your IELTS writing score. So being able to use grammar effectively is extremely important for this part of the test. So hello to Puneet. Hello to you. Good evening. It's afternoon where I am currently, but good evening to you. Puneet is here from India. A very warm welcome to today's class. And Jayshree, hello to you. Great to see you in the class again. Okay, so we will be looking at the materials then today on grammar, and we can have a look at those together now. So we'll be focusing on using tenses in IELTS writing part 2. So first of all, just to make a point that in order to use tenses effectively, or in order to use grammar more broadly effectively in IELTS writing part 2, you need to be able to use accurate grammatical structures, and you also need to be able to use a range of grammatical structures. So tenses play a big part in that. But let's have a look at some examples. So using grammar effectively means you have to include examples of compound and complex sentences. So not just simple sentences. So examples of this are using conditional clauses, if clauses, for example, or relative clauses where we use who, which, where. These are words we use to link clauses together to create complex sentences. You should also use a range of appropriate verb forms. So this could involve modal verbs, may, might, could, would, or also passive structures, which are common in more formal writing. So it was built by, or it is believed, or it is often said. So these are all examples of passive structures. And finally, also, you should use tenses accurately and appropriately. And of course, there are a range of tenses in English, from the present simple to the present continuous, to the present perfect, to the past simple, and so on. Okay, so I can see as we've got going, a few other students have joined the class today, which is great to see. Hello to Ronnie. A very warm welcome to you, and also Asan as well. Good evening to you. Asan is here from Bangladesh. So to continue, we're going to focus today on two tenses which are often confused. One being the past simple and the other being the present perfect. So let's have a look at some of the differences then between when we use the past simple and the present perfect. So the past simple is used to simplify in situations where we're referring to completed actions or states in the past. So for example, I went to Bristol University. Okay, that's a completed action. I went to that university. I'm not at the university anymore. So because it's finished, we use the past simple to represent the fact that the action began and was completed in the past. However, the present perfect we use in slightly different scenarios. So the first scenario we could use it in is to refer to an action or a state which began in the past but still continues in the present. So an example of this would be, I've lived in England for 3 years. So I came to England 3 years ago, but I'm still in England now, So it connects the past to the present. Another example of using the present perfect is when we're referring to actions which began in the past and they were completed in the past, but very recently. So, for example, here, I've just had breakfast. This is something which is finished very recently, maybe within the last half an hour, or an even shorter period of time. And when we're referring to something that is finished very recently, we will, on occasion, use the present perfect to refer to that. A final common case where we use the present perfect would be for actions which began in the past, but which could change in the future. So an example of this would be, I've been to Italy twice. So that is true. I've been to Italy twice. However, I could go to Italy again, not now because of restrictions, but maybe in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months' time. And then that situation would change in the future. So unlike in the first case, I went to Bristol University, that began and ended in the past. That can't change. I can't change the past. I could change the situation here because saying I've been to Italy twice is only a representation of what has happened up to now. If I go again, then that situation will change. So these are ways then in which we would use the present perfect. If you can think of any other examples, for those who are watching in the on Facebook or on YouTube, of when we would use the present perfect or when we would use the past simple, please share them. Are there any examples, any sentences where you're not sure which one you should use? If there are, this is an opportunity to share those sentences now. Okay, so we're going to move on now to look at the IELTS analysis task itself. And we're going to analyze some examples where there were correct sentences and also where there were errors. So let's have a look at these together and decide which ones we think are correct and which ones are not. So I'm just going to bring up these examples now. Okay then, so we can see here we've got 6 sentences. Each of these sentences uses an example of the present perfect and also an example of the past simple. So are they correct or are they not? And if they are not correct, why not? What do we need to change? Okay, so let me know in the chat if you have any ideas on this. We've got an example here with the first one. It states, I've listened to the radio yesterday, but I didn't listen to it this morning. Okay, and it's corrected the sentence. It's identified the sentence as being incorrect. So it should be, I listened to the radio yesterday, but I haven't listened to it this morning. And the reason for that is because yesterday is completed, it's finished, it's not coming back. So we should use the past simple, remember, for an action which began and was completed in the past. However, I haven't listened to it this morning. Well, this is something which happened or didn't happen in this case very recently. So for an action which is being referred to that was very recent, remember, we can use the present perfect. So let's have a look now at the first example here. It states, I've played the piano yesterday at home, but I didn't play it today yet. What do we think? Is this correct or incorrect, and why? Just let me know in the chat box if you have any comments on this one. Okay, so for this first one then, this would be incorrect for the same reasons as the sentence before. So I played the piano yesterday. Remember, yesterday began and ended in the past. So we should use the past simple. But I haven't played it today yet. Well, today continues. So actually, this is something which could change today, isn't it? It's a situation that could change. I haven't played it today. Yeah, so we should add the ed on there, played. Obviously using the present perfect structure, have plus the past participle. Yeah, I haven't played it today yet, but maybe I will later on today. Today is not yet completed, so this is a situation that could change in the future. What about number 2? Is this correct or not? Again, let me know if you have any comments on this one. Okay, so just looking at the comments that have come in before. So played for the first one, yep, but it should be haven't played for the second one. Yeah, don't forget haven't played. So well done for those who made those comments. Everyone recognised it should have been played for the first one. Apple correctly identified haven't played for the second part of the sentence. What about the second sentence? Any comments on this one? So if we look at this, it reads, I've never eaten dates, but I had figs for the first time a few days ago. Well, this is correct, isn't it? Yeah, I've never eaten dates. But that could change in the future. Maybe I'll eat dates later today. Maybe I'll eat dates tomorrow. Yeah, it's a situation that could change. So it makes sense to use the present perfect. But I had figs for the first time a few days ago. A few days ago began in the past, ended in the past. So this is correct. What about the third sentence? Any comments on this one? Let me know in the chat box if you do have any comments on this. Okay, well done, Jay Shree, for yours. For the first one, it's better to use the present perfect because the situation could change. But definitely for the second part of the sentence, we should use the past. So that sentence would be correct. But looking at sentence 3, more new inventions have been created since 1900 than were created at any time before then, is also correct. Okay, so have been created since 1900. So basically that means from the past up till today, up to now. So it connects the past to the present. And we use since in order to do that, to connect those two times, the past and the present. So, yep, have been created is correct. And it says here, more than were created at any time before then. So obviously before 1900 is clearly beginning and ending in the past. So we should use the past simple for that. This is an example of using the passive voice in number 3 as well. For number 4, what do we think for number 4? Again, let me know if you think there should be any changes. Okay, looking at number 4 then, it says, although the latest developments in technology affected the way we live, okay, the latest refers to something which is relevant in the present. So the latest developments are the developments which have happened most recently, right up until now. So again, it's connecting the past to the present. They began in the past, but they are relevant right up until the present. So we should use have affected. I think the wheel, it should be made a greater impact when it was invented. So when it was invented, clearly began and ended in the past. It was invented many, 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 many years ago. So we should use the past simple there. What do we think about number 5? Any comments on number 5? Good, Lubna. Yep, you had have affected for number 4. That is correct. Number 5, any comments on that? Okay, let's have a look at that together. So many people throughout the ancient world developed ideas that have influenced modern education more than is realized. Okay, well, throughout the ancient world is clearly the past. So developed in the past simple should be used. Ideas that have influenced modern education more than is realized. So these ideas, they've influenced modern education in the past, but also up until now. So it links the past to the present. So this would be correct. And finally, number 6, what do we think? Is this one correct or not? Okay, good. So yeah, so Rone and Lubna were saying that number 5 was correct, which is good. As is Apple also saying correct for number 5. But let's now have a look at number 6. And number 6, my grandfather has designed a new type of car engine when he was in his 20s. Well, if he's a grandfather, it's impossible for him to be in his 20s now, so it must be the past. It began and ended in the past. He designed a new type of car engine when he was in his 20s. And also you can see it uses the past tense here, the past simple. So we should be consistent and use the past simple for the previous part of the clause as well. I designed one too as part of the engineering course I'm doing. So I'm doing present continuous. It means that the course continues. And so we should use here the present perfect. So I have designed is what we want to use here. I have designed one too as part of the engineering course I'm doing. Good. And I can see that Apple got the same answer there, as did Lubna and Jaysri as well. Good. Yeah, my grandfather designed. Perfect. That's what we should have got for sentence number 6. Okay, so that's a review then in terms of using the present perfect and the past simple. Do go over this class again if you want to review any of the points made. And remember, using tenses effectively will improve your IELTS writing score. So ensure that you are reviewing this in order to be as correct as possible going forward. So that's almost all from me. It just remains for me to make you aware of or remind you about the IELTS scholarship program, which we have available. And this gives you an opportunity. If you would love to work as a nurse in the USA, you should check out the Swoosh English Connetics USA IELTS scholarship, in which you could do all of this for free. And you can apply for that today by clicking the link, which I'm going to share in YouTube and on Facebook in just a moment. Just click on the Connetics page and click on the option which says Staff Nurse. Okay, so I'm just sharing the link in the chat box now. So if you want to take advantage of this opportunity, then ensure that you do as soon as possible. The sooner that you get started, the sooner you'll be able to realize your dreams. So thank you to all of those who have watched the class today and who have contributed. I look forward to our next class, where we will look at another IELTS task and analyze the approach that we should take in order to improve our IELTS skills. So thank you for joining me, and I hope I'll see you again in the next class.